Halt! Who goes there?
Ah, it's more of those Illumineers.
You are trespassing on the Queen's land.
The Inklands? No, no, no. The Queen's lands. Where all the ways here are her ways.
Yes, she just claimed these lands yesterday, in fact.
If you're lucky, depending on your affiliation, she may grant you with some law.
Look sharp, men. The White Rabbit is about to trumpet. Here she comes.
And there you have it. It is the Queen of Hearts, Wonderland Empress. Blake, why don't you tell everyone what this card does?
Yeah, she's a nice inkable 3-cost 3/3 with 1 lore. However, with her abilities, all ways here are my ways. Whenever this character quests, your other villain characters get +1 lore this turn.
That's not bad at all.
No.
With how many villains we have already in certain colors, it's not bad at all. And Sean, I know we've been talking about a certain ink color that this pairs really well with.
Yeah, what we've been spitballing at this point is we're thinking of like a pseudo aggro build in Amber and Amethyst, just because Amethyst has the most vast selection of villains. And I would also argue that it has the most playable villains.
Mm-hmm. You have cards like Yzma, the 6-drop. You have the big Ursula that takes away lore from your opponent, so even helping in that regard there. And you have all the Mim cards that you have access to.
Dr. Falsier.
Maleficent, the draw. Facilier, the 3-drop Maleficent to draw. And obviously, like, Amethyst also has this very powerful draw in that Maleficent and Friends on the other side. And even the Merlin Rabbits, I think the Merlin cards are good closers for this deck. It just kind of depends on where things fit. They are not villains, but there's a lot that can be done here. And obviously, there are other colors that have villains. And obviously, Hades, the big shiftable target in Amber, is probably where you want to go with this. And so, a lot to be said about this card and what it can do in the next set. But Blake, you, my sir, are an expert in the lore of Lorcana. So why don't you tell us about this spicy flavor text that Queen of Hearts has?
Yeah, as you can see here, the more the Inklands she claims, the more she wants. So the villains are definitely on the move. We've seen several things within the story trailer with the Shadow taking the trident. We got this flavor text here. So all of these villains are taking action and causing some chaos around Lorcana. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out after the cataclysm.
Yeah, like it's been rumored that Ursula is the big bad, but could Queen Hearts be the big bad? Is she working with Ursula? I don't know. Sean, any thoughts?
It really feels like there might be almost like an evil Avengers level team up going on here at this point.
The Legion of Lorcana.
It really feels like we might have, it kind of feels like we have a bunch of these big bads from a lot of different IPs that are being brought together by maybe an even greater force. You know what I mean?
One that like could be outside of an IP that is central to Lorcana.
Exactly. See, exactly. That's kind of where I lean with this, because we have her now, Queen of Hearts, Wonderland Empress now. It's very much exactly what that character has always dreamed of. This was the goal for this character all along, and she did it in this incarnation. So
yeah, lots that this card can do. I know we're all excited to start brewing because we do feel like this has some potential. This has legs now that we are 3 sets in. And yeah, we're seeing some of these cards that have keywords like the villain here start to gain more attention because we have enough. Hades, if we go back to set 1, we had some villains, but it wasn't very consistent. But now that we have obviously a good amount of from set 1 and set 2 and set 3, also something I want to point out is we, at the time of recording, have 1 Amethyst character so far.
it's true.
In set 3. So there is a lot to still be seen and see how this card could play, but as an uncommon, it's not bad at all. Blake, I'll go to you. Any last thoughts on Queen of Hearts that you had?
Yeah, just very excited to see if this card is part of what brings Villain's deck alive. I know Hades was tested out in set one, but it felt like it was needing something, and I feel like this card could be that card that helps tie it up nicely. And even if Hades is big Hades, it's not part of that picture. And maybe there's this low to the ground aggro build where you just play all these small villains characters and she just gives them all lore and you quest
Mm-hmm.
for several more lore than you're supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, you have like the little Maleficent. You have the 2-drop Yzma, which also helps with draw because, face it, seeing more cards is great. But Sean, last but not least, any more thoughts on our wonderful
Oh,
reveal?
absolutely. I have tons of thoughts on this reveal. This card definitely gives legs to the villain archetype. The way that Queen of Hearts and Hades, King of Olympus synergize, it's kind of beautiful because you are stacking so much lore at that point. If you have a board of, say, let's say your board is 5 wide with villains, Hades
Mm-hmm.
is questing for 7 because if you quest with her first, Hades is questing for 7 on his own.
Yeah.
That right there is pretty nuts. Even giving an extra lore to Madam M Purple Dragon, or the 7-drop evasive with 4 lore to give her 5 lore, could be pretty awesome. Giving Maleficent Biding Her Time a 3rd lore for a 1-drop, that could be pretty exciting as well. There's lots of ways to go here, and I think because we are going to be playing around with Hades and we're in the amber colors, obviously we're going to be playing Lady Hades, Lord of the Underworld, to be getting our characters back from discard,
Yeah.
adding to that aggro feel of this. I think this deck is going to end up being very aggro-y with like one piece that's like a top end.
Mm-hmm.
I could also
Yeah.
see playing. You're probably going to be playing the Queen combo in this deck, just because it's a villain and you're in these colors. You could shift her on 2. It's all
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. I cannot wait until we can actually fully start brewing with these cards and seeing where this deck goes.
Yeah. Like you said, even just, I mean, past Queen of Hearts, there are a lot of good cards coming from set 3. But yeah, that is Queen of Hearts. Wonderful Empress. We want to say a huge, gigantic thank you to Ravensburger and Team Lorcana for letting us reveal this card. It is always a pleasure. But with that being said, we hope you all enjoyed this reveal, and Glimmer on.
Glimmer on.